So I got a job at 17 and I actually got my dream job, which is being a full-time penetration tester in cybersecurity, right? Not like a normal entry-level job that everybody tells you to get, like being a SOC analyst or going into sysadmin or tech support even. Um, yeah, I got my dream job at 17, and there's basically three principles really that really helped me achieve that, and that really helped me achieve like anything I've ever wanted in life. Actually, like I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, to be honest. Um, so the first principle is meditation, and this video overall is not going to be a classic IT, how to be better at IT videos about learning and becoming a better person in general, right? So the first principle is meditation. I try to do it every day. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but meditation is basically literally training to focus on doing something hard. Literally training to be bored and to focus on a boring task. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can meditate, right? There are also ways to meditate to achieve flow state or enlightenment or whatever, but I don't really care about that, not at the moment anyway. Um, I just want to, kick ass in my studies and my job now, right? Because I'm not in school anymore. It's also a huge mindfuck. But anyways, meditation, or like how I like to call it, focus training, basically how you do it is you close your eyes, you sit down on your bed or wherever you're comfortable, and then you just focus on your breath. Now, your focus will start to drift naturally, right? You will automatically, within a split second, but you won't even notice it, you will start to think about something else. Like as soon as you sit down and take in a deep breath and focus on that breath, as soon as you do that, your focus will already be at a random thought that you have gotten. And the skill you're basically building is to recognize that you have received a thought into your mind and to then realize, oh, I'm thinking about something else. I should probably put my focus back on the thing that I was doing initially, which is focusing on the breath, right? So you're just sitting there with eyes closed, as little information going into your brain as possible. So no music, no, your eyes are closed, obviously. So you're only focusing on the breath. And then once a thought pops up, you just put your attention back to the breath. It's pretty simple, right? But a lot of people say like doesn't work for them because their focus drifts, but that's actually the point of doing meditation. It's just becoming better at realizing that your focus drifts naturally because it happens to everybody, and then just putting your attention back on the boring task, which is breathing, or which would be like programming or hacking, right? The second principle that I've done is eat the frog, right? And I've learned this from Hamza, actually. I don't know if you know him. He gives good advice. I don't really watch him anymore though. Um, Now, eat the frog is basically an analogy to a thought experiment. Let's say I'm the king of some country, right? And you're some peasant, right? And I call you in for dinner into my castle. And I tell you, we're gonna have dinner. We're gonna have this nice, delicious meal, but you also have to eat a frog, like a live frog. It's still alive, and you have to eat it like without cutlery or anything. You have to grab it and you have to eat it. And I give you the choice. You can eat the frog before our meal, or you can eat the frog after our meal. And basically, the smart decision obviously is to eat the frog before the meal, right? Because if you eat the frog beforehand, your sense of pleasure will tank, right? It's gonna be disgusting and all. But after that, you are able to like cleanse the taste out of your mouth, and you are able to enjoy the meal afterwards, which is going to be so much more enjoyable as well because you just felt something so horrible, which makes something ordinary feel so much more enjoyable, right? So it's basically the principle of doing something hard to be able to enjoy doing something easy later. Now, how I've translated this into my life is the first thing I ever do when I get to my job is once I'm all set up, right? Once I set up my computer and stuff, um, is I literally close the door to the room and I put the little sign on the door to do not disturb. And for the first like 3 to 4 hours of the day until there's lunch with all the other people there, I just focus on the one biggest essential task which is at hand. Most of the times I already finish it, right? Like there's a task I set myself, for example, like testing for eye doors on this website. Um, and after those 4 hours of deep, intense focus, I'm basically already done, right? And after that, I can really sit back and enjoy the rest of the day without being stressed as much. And how I translated that into my studies as well was the first thing I would do when I would wake up is just try and learn as much and study as much as I could until I like got super, super bored and I went out to eat and went out to exercise. So basically, this is also proven from a scientific standpoint. This is not just the woo-woo bullshit of the analogy, right? There's this thing called decision fatigue, and it's basically what supermarkets use and marketing, right? So if you go into a supermarket, the first thing you see is all the vegetables, all the fruits and stuff, all the healthy stuff, right? And you go through the supermarket, and at the end, at the cashier, there's alcohol and the cigarettes and candy and whatever, right? And that's basically because supermarkets know that the more decisions you make, the worse your decisions get, or the more like your willpower depletes. So if you get to the end of your shopping spree, you've already made like 1,000 decisions on, oh, do I get this item? Do I get this item? Oh, wait, I needed this item actually. And actually, there's somebody in school and blah, 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 right? And your thought just drifts off randomly and you make another decision. And now you're at the cash register and you've made like 1,000 micro decisions over the time of your shopping spree. And because of that, you're more likely to actually buy stuff that's worse for you but gives you pleasure in the moment. So basically, in the morning, because you just slept and you just woke up and it's the first thing you're doing, you have a way less of a chance to actually procrastinate and not do what you actually want. Now, you can come at me with the argument, okay, but I'm going to school, obviously, right? Or you might go to college, but if you're going to college, you're already studying what you want, right? And also at college, you have like classes at 9 or even 1, right? So what I did generally was I would wake up before school and I would just sometimes I would study right for school. Sometimes I would do cybersecurity, and sometimes I would do other stuff like journaling and just self-reflection. Sometimes I would go to the gym, but the overall principles stayed the same. It didn't really matter what goal I had in mind at that time, but whatever it was, I would put it at the very first thing in the morning. Now, damn, that was a lot of talking. We're already at 9 minutes. The third principle is what I learned from Andrew Huberman, and it's basically how to retain information really well. It's how to really, really learn a lot. And basically, the most effective thing you can do for learning, it's like with the 80-20 rule, right? You do 20% of tasks, put in 80% of the results. Um, the number one thing you can do is just test yourself. Once you've read and obtained information, immediately just you can use AI for this, but I wouldn't really recommend it. Um, Somehow generate like a literal school exam and then just take it. Now, you might want to prepare this the evening beforehand, so once you wake up, you can immediately test yourself. Also, what's really important is once you've gotten new information, the amount that you sleep and the quality of your sleep on that specific night is actually really, really important because it actually, I don't know the specific details. Obviously, I'm not a neuroscientist, but it has to do with stuff in your brain, right? With how the synapses connect and how neuroplasticity works and something like that. I haven't really retained the information about the podcast that I heard too well, to be honest. I haven't tested myself on it. Um, but yeah, basically what you can do is just test yourself. Generate a test with ChatGPT and make it like a real exact school exam and make like 3 or 4 of them for the information that you actually really want to retain, right? Like for me, that would be like stuff about C, the C programming language. I'm self-teaching myself the C programming language right now, doing a pretty cool project. So just having tests for the information you just learned is super, super valuable. So what I did was I would retain the information, or not retain I would obtain the information. Then I would, in the evening, prepare a test for the next morning on that specific information. I would go to sleep, have a good night's sleep, and on the next morning, I would test myself on the information. I would take like an hour-long exam on the information, and that's basically like the best way that you can learn. Also, don't do what's it called? Not multitasking. Don't do multiple choice questions because those aren't as effective as open-ended questions. Open-ended questions just make you recall the information in a better way, right? Um, and yeah, that's kind of it. That's basically how you obtain anything in life, right? Because the essential things are retaining information, being able to focus on doing actual hard work, and then actually doing the hard work, right? Those are 3 essentials that actually help me to get a job. And fuck me, bro. I was just about to do the outro. I was just done, man. Dude, my camera dies like every 12 minutes. Okay, where I left off. Uh, Fuck, bro. Right, those are the 3 essentials to basically master anything you want, right? Because one, you have to do the actual hard work, eat the frog, right? And two, you have to be able to actually do the hard work, right? You have to be able to focus on the work, which is going to be meditation. And then three, you have to actually retain the information that you're learning, which is just testing yourself on it. Yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you for listening. And yeah, there's gonna be some vlogs soon. Maybe look out for that. Smash like, smash subscribe. You know how it is. Yeah. See ya.